The Great Hall of the Galactic Council stretched for miles in every direction. Representatives from 100 different worlds sat in their special seats, each designed for their unique body shapes. Some floated in water tanks, others hung from the ceiling like giant bats, and many stood on legs that looked nothing like human legs. Ambassador Zexith clicked his crystal fingers against his chair. His body was made of living diamond, and light passed through him like he was a walking rainbow. He had called this meeting, and now all eyes were on him. Well, all the eyes that could see. Some species used sound or smell instead of sight. Fellow council members, Zexith began, his voice ringing like wind chimes. We face a growing threat, the species called humans from the planet Earth. A low rumble went through the hall. Everyone had heard of humans. They were the new species that had appeared in space only 50 years ago. In that short time, they had built colonies on dozens of worlds and started trading with anyone who would talk to them. Fleet Admiral Corinth stood up from his seat. He was a Veltar, which meant he looked like a cross between a bear and a lizard. His people were known as the best warriors in the galaxy. These humans are dangerous, he said in his deep growling voice. They carry weapons everywhere they go. They fight wars on their own planet for no good reason. That is correct, said Ambassador Hesitak, who looked like a giant octopus with too many tentacles. My intelligence agents have studied their history. In the last 1,000 years they have fought over 300 major wars. They have weapons that can destroy entire cities. They even tested these weapons on themselves. The council members made various sounds of disgust and fear. War was not unknown in the galaxy, but it was rare. Most civilized species had learned long ago that fighting was wasteful and stupid. When conflicts happened, they were settled quickly by the stronger side showing their power. The weaker side would surrender and everyone would go back to normal life. But that is not the worst part, Zexith continued. The worst part is how fast they spread. Look at this data. A hologram appeared in the center of the hall. It showed a map of known space with little dots marking human colonies and trading posts. 50 years ago there had been only one dot, Earth. Now there were hundreds. They build new colonies faster than any species we have seen, Zexith said. They adapt to any world, any climate, any conditions. Ice worlds, desert worlds, worlds with poisonous air. Nothing stops them. Admiral Corinth nodded his massive head. My scouts report that human ships are everywhere. They explore systems that no one else wants. They mine asteroids that are too dangerous for other species. They even build stations in empty space far from any star. A new voice spoke up. It belonged to Council Leader Vexmore, an ancient being whose species had been in space for 10,000 years. What exactly are you asking us to do? Zexith's crystal body flashed brighter. What we always do when a dangerous species threatens galactic peace. We follow the protocol of civilized action. Everyone knew what that meant. The protocol was simple and had worked for thousands of years. When a species became too dangerous or too aggressive, the Council would send a large fleet to their homeworld. They would show overwhelming force, so many ships that resistance was impossible. Then they would give the species a choice. Accept Council protection and follow Council rules or be destroyed. Every species had always chosen to surrender. It was the logical choice. Fighting against impossible odds was suicide. The humans have only 200 ships in their entire fleet, Admiral Corinth said. My forces alone have 25,000 vessels. A full Council armada would have 50,000 ships from dozens of species. The humans would have to surrender, would they? Asked a small voice from the corner. It came from a delegate who looked like a floating jellyfish. My people have traded with humans. They are different. When we negotiate, other species try to find the best deal for everyone. Humans negotiate like everything is a fight they must win. That proves my point, Zexith said. They think like warriors, not like civilized beings. They will bring war to the entire galaxy if we do not stop them now. Council Leader Vexmore raised one of his many arms. Is there any species that speaks in favor of the humans? The hall was quiet for a long moment. Finally, a small delegate near the back spoke up. She belonged to a species that looked like walking flowers. The humans have been good traders with my people. They pay fair prices and deliver what they promise. They have never threatened us or demanded special treatment. Yet, Admiral Corinth growled, they have been peaceful so far because they are still weak, but they grow stronger every day. How long before they decide that taking what they want is easier than trading for it? The flower-like delegate sat down and said nothing more. Zexith looked around the great hall. I call for a vote. All in favor of implementing the protocol of civilized action against the human species of Earth? Lights began to glow around the hall as each delegate cast their vote. Green for yes, red for no, yellow for abstain. The voting system had been designed to be fair for all species, no matter how they sensed the world. When the voting was finished, the results appeared in the air for everyone to see. 437 votes for yes, 12 votes for no, 8 abstentions. The motion passes, Council Leader Vexmore announced. The protocol of civilized action is approved. Admiral Corinth, you will command the operation. Admiral Corinth stood and placed his clawed hand over his heart in the traditional salute. I accept the honor. How large should the fleet be? Zexith answered quickly. Make it impressive. 50,000 ships from all member species. Show the humans that resistance is hopeless. This should be over quickly with minimal loss of life. What about their colonies? Asked another delegate. Should we attack them as well? No. Council Leader Vexmore said. The colonies are scattered and weak. Once Earth surrenders, the colonies will have no choice but to accept Council protection as well. We are not barbarians. We do not wage war for the joy of killing. Admiral Corinth nodded. I will need 2 months to gather the fleet and coordinate with all member species. Then we will travel to Earth and make our demands. Good, Zexith said. Let this be the last time we need to use force against a young species. Perhaps the humans will learn from this experience and become productive members of galactic civilization. As the council members began to file out of the Great Hall, many of them talked quietly among themselves. Most felt relief that the human problem would soon be solved. Some felt sad that it had come to this, but they agreed it was necessary. None of them suspected that they were about to make the greatest mistake in galactic history. Admiral Corinth remained in his seat long after the others had left, staring at the hologram that still showed human colonies scattered across the galaxy. Something bothered him about the pattern, but he could not quite figure out what it was. The colonies were not clustered around Earth, as would be logical for a young species. Instead, they seemed to be placed randomly, with no connection to each other or to their home world. Some were so far from Earth that it would take months to send a message between them. He shook his massive head and dismissed the thought. It did not matter how the humans had arranged their colonies. In 2 months, Earth would surrender and the human expansion would end. The galaxy would be safe and peaceful once again. He had no way of knowing that the seemingly random placement of human colonies was not random at all. 2 months later, Admiral Corinth's fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. The site was designed to inspire terror and immediate surrender. 5,000 warships hung in space like a wall of metal and death. Each ship was larger than anything humans had ever built. Some were miles long, bristling with weapons that could crack planets. Behind them, 45,000 more ships waited in hyperspace, ready to appear at Corinth's command. No species in galactic history had ever seen such a display of power, and chosen to fight. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the human flagship Defiance, watching the alien fleet through the main viewer. She was a small woman with gray hair and calm eyes that had seen too many battles. Around her, the bridge crew worked quietly at their stations, their faces showing no fear. Communications, open a channel, Chen said. Channel open, Admiral, replied Lieutenant Park at the communications station. Admiral Corinth's image appeared on the main screen. His reptilian face showed the confidence of someone who had never lost a battle. I am Fleet Admiral Corinth of the Galactic Council Defense Force. You will identify yourself. I am Admiral Sarah Chen, commanding the Human Defense Fleet. Welcome to our solar system, Admiral. To what do we owe this impressive visit? Corinth had expected fear, panic, or immediate surrender. The human's calm politeness surprised him. I am here to deliver the ultimatum of civilized action, as approved by the Galactic Council. Your species has been deemed a threat to galactic peace and stability. I see, Chen said. And what does this ultimatum require? You will surrender all human military forces immediately. Earth will accept Galactic Council protection and oversight. All human colonies will be placed under Council administration. Your species will be relocated to designated worlds where you can be properly supervised. Admiral Chen was quiet for a moment. When she spoke again, her voice was still calm and polite. Admiral Corinth, I appreciate the Council's concern for galactic peace. However, I must respectfully decline your offer. The bridge of Corinth's flagship went completely silent. In 3,000 years of galactic history, no species had ever refused the ultimatum. His tactical officers stared at their screens in disbelief. You decline? Corinth said, his voice rising. Do you understand what you face? I have 5,000 warships in this system alone. Your entire fleet has only 200 vessels. Resistance is not just futile. It is suicide. I understand the numbers, Admiral, Chen replied. But I think you misunderstand humans. We don't make our decisions based only on numbers. Corinth's clawed hands gripped his command chair. This was not going according to the protocol. Perhaps you need a demonstration of our power. I will destroy your moon to show you what happens to those who refuse the Council's protection. Admiral Chen's expression hardened. Admiral, I want to be very clear about something. Any attack on any object in our solar system will be considered an act of war against humanity. We will respond accordingly. You threaten me? Corinth roared. With what? Your tiny fleet cannot harm even one of my ships. Admiral, Chen said quietly. You should know that the moment your fleet appeared in our system, we sent quantum burst communications to every human colony and settlement in known space. They are all aware of the situation. Corinth waved a dismissive claw. Your scattered colonies cannot help you. They are too far away and too weak. You fight alone. No, Admiral. You misunderstand again. The colonies aren't going to help Earth. They're going to avenge us. Something cold crawled up Corinth's spine. There was something in the human admiral's voice. Not fear, not desperation, but a kind of terrible certainty. You speak in riddles, human. Let me be plain then. If you attack Earth, if you harm one human city or kill one human citizen, every human colony will consider itself at war with the Galactic Council. Not just defense, war. Total war. Do you understand the difference? Before Corinth could respond, alarms began blaring on his bridge. Admiral, called his sensor officer. We're detecting movement from the human fleet. They're moving closer. On the main viewer, Admiral Chen stood straighter. Admiral Corinth, you came to our home system with weapons of war. You have threatened our world and our people. By the laws of any civilized species, that is an act of aggression. I'm giving you one chance to withdraw. You dare give me an ultimatum? Corinth snarled. You face annihilation? Yes, Chen said simply. We do, and we've made peace with that possibility. Have you made peace with what comes after? Corinth cut the communication channel and turned to his weapons officer. Target their flagship. Fire a warning shot across their bow. Sir, should I contact the main fleet to— No, Corinth snapped. 5,000 ships are more than enough to handle 200 primitive vessels. Fire! A beam of energy lanced out from Corinth's flagship, passing within 100 meters of the Defiance. It was meant to show power while avoiding casualties. Admiral Chen opened the channel again. Was that your warning shot, Admiral? It was. Surrender now, or the next shot will not miss. Chen nodded to someone off screen. Very well. You've made your choice. The human fleet began to spread out, taking battle positions. It looked hopeless, 200 small ships against 5,000 giants. But something about their formation bothered Corinth. They weren't arranging themselves defensively around Earth. Instead, they were spreading out in a pattern that looked almost— Admiral, his sensor officer called out. I'm reading weapon signatures from the human ships. They're targeting our vessels. Impossible, Corinth said. Their weapons are too primitive to threaten us at this range. That was when the humans fired. The first salvo came from a human patrol ship called the Swift Justice. It launched what looked like a simple missile at one of Corinth's escort vessels. The alien captain barely had time to laugh before the missile struck. The explosion tore the alien ship in half. What? Corinth began. Then more explosions bloomed across his fleet as dozens of human missiles found their targets. How are their weapons penetrating our shields? His tactical officer's voice was shaky. Sir, they're not using energy weapons. They're using kinetic projectiles, pure metal moving at incredible speed. Our shields are designed to stop lasers and particle beams, not solid objects. More human ships opened fire. Their weapons were crude but devastatingly effective. Instead of trying to overpower alien shields with energy, they simply threw chunks of metal fast enough to punch through them like paper. All ships, return fire, Corinth ordered. Destroy them! The alien fleet opened up with enough firepower to glass a planet. Beams of energy lit up space like a deadly light show. Many human ships died in the first exchange, but others kept fighting even as they took massive damage. Corinth watched in growing horror as a human destroyer, its hull cracked open and leaking atmosphere, rammed itself into one of his cruisers. Both ships exploded in a ball of fire, but the human ship had taken a vessel 10 times its size with it. "Admiral," his communications officer called. "We're receiving a transmission from the human flagship." Admiral Chen appeared on screen again. Behind her, smoke filled the bridge and sparks flew from damaged equipment. "Admiral Corinth," she said, her voice still steady despite the chaos around her. "I want you to remember something. You fired the first shot. You started this war. When the history books are written, make sure they get that part right." The transmission cut off just as another explosion shook Corinth's flagship. "Sir," his sensor officer screamed. "Multiple human ships are on collision courses. They're trying to ram us." Corinth stared at the tactical display in disbelief. The humans were losing. More than half their fleet was already destroyed or disabled. But instead of surrendering, the survivors were throwing themselves at his ships like guided missiles. This wasn't how civilized species fought. This wasn't how any species fought. It was madness. "Admiral," his second-in-command said quietly. "Perhaps we should call in the main fleet." Corinth nodded grimly. "Do it. All ships jump to this position immediately." As 45,000 more alien warships began appearing in Earth's solar system, Admiral Corinth realized something that chilled him to his core. The humans weren't fighting to win. They were fighting to make him pay the highest possible price for his victory. And if this was how they fought when they had no hope of winning, what would they do when they had nothing left to lose? The Battle of Earth's solar system was still raging when the first reports reached Admiral Corinth. His communications officer looked pale as he read the incoming messages. "Sir, we're receiving distress calls from across the galaxy. The Rigel mining station is under attack. The Arcturus trade depot has gone silent. 3 Veltar patrol fleets have been destroyed in the Outer Rim." Corinth barely looked up from his tactical display. The human fleet was down to 50 ships, but they kept fighting with a fury that defied all logic. "Handle it later. Right now we need to finish this." "Sir, you don't understand," the communications officer said, his voice shaking. "The attacks are coordinated. They're happening everywhere at once. Every system where we have assets is reporting human raids." Now Corinth paid attention. "That's impossible. All the human military forces are here fighting us." Another officer called out from across the bridge. "Admiral, long-range sensors are detecting human ships throughout Council space. Dozens of fleets. Maybe hundreds. They're attacking supply lines, isolated outposts, even civilian stations." Corinth's blood went cold. "Show me." The main display changed to show a map of known space. Red dots appeared everywhere, marking locations of human attacks. There were so many red dots that parts of the map looked like they were bleeding. "Where did all these ships come from?" Corinth demanded. His intelligence officer pulled up data files. "Sir, our information on human colonies was incomplete. We thought they had mining operations and trading posts. We didn't realize they had been building warships at every location." On the map, more red dots appeared every few seconds. Human ships were emerging from asteroid belts, hidden bases, and systems that weren't supposed to have any human presence at all. "They've been planning this," Corinth said in horror. "For years, maybe decades. Every colony, every mining station, every trading post, they were all military bases disguised as civilian operations." The truth was even worse than he imagined. When humans had first reached the stars, they had not just been looking for resources or new homes. They had been preparing for the day when someone would try to destroy them. Every human settlement had secret shipyards, hidden weapon stockpiles, and carefully trained militia forces. More reports flooded in. The Centauri coalition had lost an entire fleet to human raiders. The crystal cities of Zerion were under bombardment. 3 species had already withdrawn their forces from Corinth's armada to defend their home worlds. "Sir," his tactical officer said quietly, "we're winning the battle here, but we're losing the war everywhere else." Corinth watched as another human ship exploded under the combined fire of 100 alien vessels. There were only 20 human ships left in Earth's solar system, but they had cost him nearly 1,000 vessels. And for every human ship he destroyed here, 10 more seemed to appear somewhere else in the galaxy. "Admiral Corinth," came a voice from his communication system. It was Ambassador Zexith calling from the distant council chambers. "What is happening out there? My homeworld is reporting human attacks. They came out of nowhere." "The humans were more prepared than we thought," Corinth replied. "They have forces scattered throughout the galaxy." "How many forces?" Zexith demanded. Corinth looked at the tactical display. New red dots kept appearing. "I don't know. Thousands of ships. Maybe tens of thousands." There was silence on the channel for a long moment. Admiral, the Council is ordering you to withdraw immediately. Every member species is under attack. We need our fleets to defend our own worlds. We can't withdraw now, Corinth protested. We're on the verge of victory. Earth is almost defenseless. At what cost? Zexith's crystalline voice was sharp with anger. You were supposed to end this quickly with minimal casualties. Instead, you've started a galactic war. Another message came in. This one from Admiral Corinth's own home fleet. Sir, the Veltar home system is under heavy attack. 3 human battle groups have appeared near our capital world. They're demanding our immediate surrender, or they'll begin bombardment of civilian targets. Corinth's claws scraped against his command chair. Humans don't attack civilians. They're bluffing. Sir, they've already destroyed 2 of our orbital cities. They said it was retaliation for the attack on Earth. They're not bluffing. On the main display, the last human ship in Earth's solar system exploded in a brilliant flash of light. The Battle of Earth was over. Admiral Corinth had won a complete victory. But as he stared at the tactical map showing human attacks across the galaxy, victory felt like defeat. All ships, he commanded, prepare for immediate jump to hyperspace. We're returning to Veltar. Space. Sir, his second-in-command asked. What about Earth? Don't we need to land troops and secure the planet? Corinth looked at Earth hanging in space like a blue marble. It looked peaceful and defenseless, but he now understood that Earth was not the real target. Earth was the bait. Leave it, he said. It doesn't matter anymore. As his fleet prepared to jump, more reports came in. A human fleet had appeared near the Galactic Council chambers themselves, demanding to speak with the Council leadership. They weren't attacking, just waiting. But their message was clear. Nowhere was safe. The communication channel crackled to life again. This time it was a human voice, calm, professional, and terrifyingly polite. Admiral Corinth, this is Admiral Martinez of the Human Colonial Defense Force. I believe you've been having some trouble with our people. Who are you? Corinth demanded. Where are you broadcasting from? I'm currently stationed near the Veltar homeworld, Admiral. Beautiful planet, by the way. My compliments to your people's city planners. Corinth's blood froze. You're threatening my homeworld? Oh no, Admiral. We don't threaten. That would be uncivilized. We're simply positioned to defend ourselves, if necessary. Just like you were defending yourself when you attacked Earth. What do you want? We want you to understand something, Admiral. When you attacked Earth, you didn't just attack one world. You attacked every human in the galaxy, every colony, every settlement, every family. We take that personally. More red dots appeared on the tactical display. Human ships were showing up in systems that had been considered absolutely secure. They seemed to be everywhere at once. This is impossible, Corinth said. No species can coordinate attacks across such distances. The communication delays alone. You're thinking like an alien, Admiral, the human voice said with what sounded like amusement. We don't coordinate from a central command. Every human commander knows what to do when Earth is attacked. We planned for this day from the moment we left our homeworld. Admiral Corinth realized with growing horror that the humans had turned their entire expansion into space into a weapon. Every colony was a military base. Every trade route was a supply line. Every civilian ship was a potential warship. What do you want from us? He asked. Right now? We want you to leave our solar system and never come back. After that, we'll see. The day is young, Admiral, and we have a lot of people to visit. As Corinth's fleet jumped to hyperspace, fleeing the solar system they had come to conquer, the Admiral understood that the galaxy had changed forever. The humans hadn't just survived the attack on Earth. They had used it as an excuse to go to war with everyone. And unlike every other species in galactic history, the humans seemed to enjoy fighting even when they couldn't win. They fought like the universe owed them nothing and everything was worth dying for. For the first time in his military career, Admiral Corinth was afraid. Not afraid of losing a battle or a war, but afraid that the humans might be willing to destroy the entire galaxy rather than surrender. As more reports of human attacks flooded in, he began to suspect they just might do exactly that. 6 weeks into what the humans called the Solar War, Admiral Corinth stood in the Galactic Council's emergency session chamber. The great hall that had once held representatives of 100 species now had empty seats everywhere. 37 species had withdrawn from the coalition, either to defend their own worlds or to avoid further human retaliation. The situation is completely out of control, announced Council Leader Vexmore. His ancient voice carried a weariness that spoke of watching civilizations rise and fall. Human forces have struck at targets in 80% of Council space. Ambassador Zexith's crystal body flickered with angry red light. My people have lost 3 colonies and 12 mining stations. The humans don't just attack, they destroy everything, and then disappear before our fleets can respond. Admiral. Corinth had aged years in just 6 weeks. His once proud bearing was stooped with exhaustion and something that looked like fear. They're not fighting like any enemy we've ever faced. Every time we adapt to their tactics, they change. Every time we think we understand their strategy, they do something completely different. The holographic display in the center of the chamber showed the latest tactical report. Red markers indicated human raids, and there were hundreds of them, scattered across the galaxy. But what worried Corinth most were the patterns he was beginning to see. Look at this, he said, manipulating the display. 3 weeks ago they were hitting our supply lines with quick raids. We adapted by sending stronger escorts. So they started attacking our escorts with larger forces. The display changed to show a series of battles. We responded by sending fleets to hunt down their raiders. So they started using their raiders as bait to lure our fleets into traps. Ambassador Hesatak waved several tentacles in distress. Yesterday they destroyed an entire Veltar battle group at Proxima Station. 12,000 ships, gone in less than an hour. Corinth nodded grimly. I've reviewed the battle records. The humans sacrificed 90% of their own fleet to destroy ours. No civilized species fights that way. No sane species fights that way. But it worked, said a small voice from the corner. The jellyfish-like delegate who had warned about human negotiating tactics now spoke with the authority of someone whose predictions had come true. They lost 900 ships to destroy 12,000 of ours. Mathematically, it was a victory for them. It was suicide, Corinth protested. Those human crews could have retreated. They could have survived. But they chose not to, the delegate replied. And now every alien captain in the galaxy knows that engaging human forces means accepting massive casualties even in victory. How many of our commanders are willing to fight an enemy like that? The question hung in the air because everyone knew the answer. Morale among Council forces was collapsing. Alien captains who had never experienced serious casualties were requesting transfers to safer sectors. Some ships had simply deserted their posts rather than face human raiders. Council leader Vexmore activated the long-range communication system. Admiral Martinez, we know you're listening. Will you respond? The human admiral's face appeared on the main display. He looked tired but determined, broadcasting from somewhere in deep space. Council leader, I'm surprised you want to talk. Usually when someone attacks our homeworld, we don't get much conversation afterwards. We miscalculated the situation, Vexmore admitted. Perhaps we can discuss terms for ending this conflict. Martinez raised an eyebrow. Terms? You mean like the terms you offered us 6 weeks ago? Accept Council protection and oversight? Zexith's crystal body flashed angrily. You cannot seriously expect us to surrender to you. We still have millions of ships. Our combined military might is scattered across the galaxy trying to defend 1,000 different targets, Martinez interrupted. While our forces can strike anywhere we choose. Tell me, Ambassador, how many of your crystal cities are still intact? The question hit like a physical blow. The crystal cities of Xerion had been architectural marvels, grown over thousands of years. Human raiders had shattered half of them in precision strikes that left the rest of the planet untouched, but made it clear that nothing was beyond their reach. What do you want? Vexmore asked. What we've always wanted, Martinez replied. To be left alone. But you made that impossible when you decided we were too dangerous to exist. Admiral Corinth leaned forward. We can return to the previous status quo. No council oversight of human worlds. Full recognition of human sovereignty. Martinez laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. Admiral, do you really think we can go back to the way things were? You've shown the galaxy what you do to species you consider threats. Every human colony now knows that one day you might decide we're dangerous again. So what are you proposing? Vexmore asked. We're not proposing anything, Martinez said. We're telling you how things are going to be. From now on, any species that attacks human territory or human citizens will face the consequences. Not just military consequences. Total consequences. Before anyone could ask what that meant, Martinez continued. Let me be very clear about something. When you attacked Earth, you taught us that the galaxy is not a safe place for peaceful species. So we're going to make it safe the only way we know how. New red markers appeared on the tactical display. Human fleets moving toward the home systems of every species that had participated in the attack on Earth. Not just military targets this time, but positions that could threaten civilian populations. You're threatening genocide, Zexith whispered. No, Martinez said firmly. We're promising justice. You decided that humanity was too dangerous to be allowed to exist. Fair enough, but if we're going to be the galaxy's monsters, we're going to be very good at it. Admiral Corinth felt a chill run down his spine. You're talking about destroying entire civilizations. Only if they force us to, Martinez replied. See, you made a mistake in your calculations, Admiral. You thought the worst thing we could do was fight back. But you were wrong. The worst thing we can do is win. The communication ended, leaving the council chamber in stunned silence. He's bluffing, Zexith said finally. No species would actually commit genocide over a single attack. But Admiral Corinth was studying the tactical display, and what he saw there made his blood run cold. The human fleets weren't positioned for raids or hit-and-run tactics. They were positioned for siege warfare, the kind of patient, methodical destruction that could wipe out entire star systems. They're not bluffing, he said quietly. Look at the positions. They're not trying to win battles anymore. They're trying to win the war by making it too expensive for us to continue fighting. Council leader Vexmore's ancient eyes were filled with something Corinth had never seen there before. Fear. In 10,000 years of galactic civilization, no species has ever been willing to destroy others completely just to ensure their own survival. No, Corinth agreed. But then again, no species has ever been like the humans. As alarms began sounding throughout the chamber, more reports of human attacks, more fleets requesting immediate withdrawal, more species abandoning the coalition, Admiral Corinth realized that the humans had done something unprecedented in galactic history. They had made warfare so terrible, so costly, and so devastating that the only rational choice was peace. The question now was whether the galaxy would accept that peace before the humans decided to stop offering it. The final message came not from a battlefield, but from a small recording device found floating in space near the wreckage of the human flagship, Defiance. Admiral Sarah Chen had made the recording just before her ship was destroyed in Earth's solar system 3 months earlier. The message had been programmed to broadcast across the galaxy on a specific date, today. Admiral Corinth sat in the empty council chamber, one of only a dozen beings still present. Most species had withdrawn their representatives weeks ago, either to defend their homeworlds or to begin secret peace negotiations with human forces. Chen's image appeared on the main display. Behind her, the bridge of her ship was filled with smoke and sparks, and the sounds of battle echoed in the background. But her voice was calm and steady, as if she were giving a routine report instead of recording her final words. My name is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Human Defense Fleet. If you're watching this, then Earth has fallen and I am dead. I want to make sure the galaxy understands what happens next. Even though Chen had been dead for 3 months, her words sent a chill through every being in the chamber. Some of you probably think this war will end with Earth's destruction. You're wrong. The attack on Earth was not the end of anything. It was the beginning. When you decided that humanity was too dangerous to be allowed to exist, you taught us something very important. You taught us that in this galaxy, peaceful coexistence is impossible. On the tactical display that dominated the chamber, red dots marked human fleet positions throughout known space. There were thousands of them now, surrounding the homeworlds of every species that had participated in the attack on Earth. Humans have a concept that I don't think you understand, Chen continued. We call it mutually assured destruction. The idea is simple. If you attack us with enough force to destroy us, we make sure that you die too. Not just your military, not just your government, but your entire civilization. Ambassador Zexith's crystal body flickered with desperate light. She's talking about genocide, total annihilation. Chen's image seemed to look directly at him. You might call it genocide. We call it justice. You see, when you attacked Earth, you didn't just attack a planet. You attacked our children, our families, our future. You decided that human children had no right to exist. So we decided that your children don't deserve to exist either. Admiral Corinth closed his eyes, but he couldn't shut out the words. Right now, human fleets are positioned near 73 different worlds belonging to the species that voted to destroy us. Each fleet has enough firepower to sterilize a planet. They have their orders. If Earth falls, if the human government is destroyed, if our species is eliminated, they will make sure that every species responsible follows us into extinction. The recording flickered for a moment as explosions shook Chen's ship. You probably think we're bluffing, that no civilized species would actually commit such an act. You're right, no civilized species would. But you've made it very clear that you don't consider us civilized. You've made it clear that we're monsters. Fine, we'll be your monsters, but we'll be the last monsters this galaxy ever sees. Council leader Vexmore spoke for the first time in hours. She's telling us that even if they lose the war, they'll make sure everyone loses. Exactly, Chen's image said, as if she could hear him across time and space. We've spent the last 50 years spreading across the galaxy, not just to find new homes, but to make sure that if someone tried to destroy us, we could destroy them in return. Every human colony has shipyards. Every human settlement has weapons stockpiles. Every human world has fleets hidden in asteroid belts and dark space, waiting for the day when Earth might fall. The tactical display updated with new intelligence reports. Human forces were emerging from hiding places that the Council had never suspected existed. Secret bases in dead systems, hidden fleets in nebulae, weapons caches on uninhabited worlds. The humans had been preparing for galactic war since the day they first left Earth. We didn't want this, Chen continued. We would have been happy to trade with you, to learn from you, to be part of your galactic community. But you decided we were too dangerous to be allowed that choice. So we made a different choice. If we can't have peace, then no one can. Admiral Corinth opened his eyes and looked at the tactical display. The math was clear and terrible. The humans had positioned enough firepower to destroy the homeworlds of every species that had voted for Earth's destruction. Even if the human military was completely eliminated, those hidden fleets would still carry out their orders. The beautiful thing about mutually assured destruction, Chen said with something that might have been a smile, is that it only works if everyone believes you're crazy enough to actually do it. Let me be very clear. We are exactly that crazy. The image flickered again and Chen looked off-screen at something. When she looked back, her expression was sad but determined. To the species that voted against the attack on Earth, we thank her. Your worlds are safe. To those who abstained, you have our respect for your neutrality. To those who voted to destroy us. She paused. You have our promise that we will see you in hell. The recording ended just as Chen's ship exploded in a flash of light that had occurred 3 months earlier but felt immediate and present. The council chamber was silent for a long time. Finally, Ambassador Zexith spoke in a voice like breaking. Crystal, how many species voted for the attack? 47, Vexmore replied quietly. And how many human fleets are positioned to carry out retaliation? Admiral Corinth checked the display. 73. They're not just targeting the species that voted for the attack. They're targeting every world belonging to those species. Complete extermination. The mathematics of annihilation hung in the air between them. If the humans carried out their threat, nearly half of galactic civilization would die. Can we stop them? Zexith asked. Corinth shook his head. The fleets are too scattered, too well hidden. Even if we found them all, they could carry out their attacks before we could stop them, and... He hesitated. And what? And they might not be the only weapons the humans have prepared. If they've been planning this for 50 years, who knows what other surprises they've left for us? Vexmore activated the communication system. Admiral Martinez, please respond. We need to talk. Martinez's face appeared on the screen. He looked older than he had weeks ago, worn down by the weight of commanding a war that threatened to consume the galaxy. Council leader, I assume you've seen Admiral Chen's message. We have. Are you really prepared to destroy entire civilizations? Martinez was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was tired but firm. Council leader, 3 months ago you voted to destroy humanity because you thought we were dangerous. You were right. We are dangerous. The question now is whether you want to find out exactly how dangerous. What would it take to stop this? Vexmore asked. What would convince your hidden fleets to stand down? Nothing, Martinez said simply. Those fleets have their orders, and those orders cannot be changed. If the human government falls, if Earth is destroyed, if our species is eliminated, they will carry out Chen's promise. The only way to stop them is to make sure that never happens. The implications hit everyone in the chamber at the same time. The humans hadn't just prepared for war. They had made themselves too dangerous to attack. Any species that tried to destroy humanity would guarantee their own destruction in return. You've created a weapon that threatens the entire galaxy, Zexith said. No, Martinez replied. We've created a shield that protects not just us, but everyone. Think about it. As long as our retaliatory fleets exist, no species will dare attack another, because if they attack us, they die. And if they attack someone else, that someone might ask us for protection. Admiral Corinth realized with growing amazement that the humans had done something unprecedented in galactic history. They had made war so terrible, so final, and so certain to destroy the aggressor, that it had become unthinkable. "You're saying that your threat of mutual destruction will create galactic peace?" Bexmore asked. "I'm saying it already has," Martinez replied. "When was the last time any species in this galaxy attacked another? When was the last time anyone even threatened to use military force to solve a problem?" The answer was obvious. It had been 3 months ago, when the Galactic Council had attacked Earth. Since then, every conflict in the galaxy had been resolved, through negotiation, trade agreements, or simple avoidance. No one wanted to risk triggering the kind of total war the humans had demonstrated. "This is madness," Zex whispered. "No," Martinez said. "This is peace. For the first time in galactic history, every species knows that starting a war means losing everything. So no one starts wars anymore." As Admiral Corinth looked at the tactical display, he realized that Martinez was right. The red dots that had once marked human attacks now marked something else entirely. Guardians, silent fleets that ensured that no species would ever again face the choice between surrender and annihilation. The humans had saved the galaxy by threatening to destroy it. And in doing so, they had created a peace more lasting and complete than any treaty or alliance in galactic history. The age of galactic warfare was over. The age of human-guaranteed peace had begun.